Hey, how to make influential content without having to become a full-time marketer. So I've been getting a lot of messages asking me recently, like, how do you make content to get clients? Now, this is because like a lot of people are like they're one of the hot things on the internet right now is teaching people how to make content. Like you'll see stuff where it's like, special posts, or you'll see people like writing, you'll see people making videos, see people doing like podcasts, and you're trying to make clients because you're feeling that it's going to get you clients just like you're seeing other people doing. Now, who is this training for? So this is for people who are wanting to grow their bookkeeping or accounting business. It's also people who do not want to spend hours each week making content. It's also for people who want to make content that's effective, not just doing content just for the sake of content, right? It's also for people who don't have a giant audience, but still want content to work for them. If that's you, like this is gonna be good. Any one of them. Doesn't have to be all of them, just any one of them. If that's you, this will be helpful. So who am I and why could this video be helpful for you? So my name is Bryce Tubbs. I started my accounting and bookkeeping firm back in 2015. It's currently at the six-figure level. At the time of this recording, we've helped over 315 students start and grow their business inside of our mentorship program. Also, if you want some help growing your business or your income, so you can have a life of like freedom without having to go through a lot of like the different struggles that cause most people to fail, click the link either above or below the video to book a call, see if I can help you. So, what does content actually do? Before we even talk about like what type of content to make and how to make the content, we need to understand like what does content do? So number one, content educates. Another thing it can do, number two, is it can connect with people. Number three, it can warm people up. Number four, it can convert. Okay. So when I say educate, it's like it can teach them some sort of thing they didn't know before, it can give them a light bulb moment about something that they had never thought about in the current way that you're basically highlighting and illuminating to them. Connection could be that it could connect with your story. It's some kind of thing where it's like, hey, I am very similar to this person. I see myself in this person. This person is like me. Third is warming, right? So that's just like that's warming in that it's a little bit different than connecting. It's warming them to the idea of working with you. Number four is converting. That's just getting someone to basically see a piece of content and then know with 100% certainty that you are the person to help them out. Now, they're none of them are mutually exclusive. One piece of content can do all of those things, or you can have a bunch of different content that is like one or two of those things. It doesn't have to be like an all or nothing kind of thing, and they're not like mutually exclusive. You can do everything in all in one. Now, what is a misinterpretation of content? Content is not to look busy. It's not to feed the algorithm. So one thing that I hear a lot of people saying, like, well, I need content because I have to make my business look busy, or I have to make my profiles look busy, or I need to feed the algorithm. So I don't post, the algorithm is not going to give me any clients or any movement. That's not true, right? I'm not playing for an algorithm. I'm really talking to a certain person that's wanting my help. Now, let's even like make an understanding too. So if you ever look at any of my social media profiles like this YouTube channel, my Facebook, my LinkedIn, right? Sometimes I promote like our mentorship program, right? The reason why is because I personally think that having a personalized conversation and getting referral partners is actually the best way to use social media to grow like bookkeeping and accounting firms. I'm making this video because people keep asking me, and I have made a lot of money with content. But the content you see me do for mentorship programs is slightly different. It's the same thing as if you're trying to do like either business consulting, if you're trying to do QuickBooks training, or if you're trying to do tax advising or tax strategy services. For a service like bookkeeping, which can be seen more as a commoditized service, I don't really like doing content in the same way that you might see me doing this thing now. So you can look at some of the content I make, and a lot of the content I make for the mentorship program is going to follow some of the steps that we talk about, but you're probably not going to emulate the content I make or have the same result I get from content. Keep in mind, I am a professional marketer. Like I have paid hundreds of thousands of dollars on courses to learn how to speak and how to write in order to get people to, want to work with me for different services that I have. So let's take a step back. Another misinterpretation people think is that like they're gonna put out a couple pieces of content and they're gonna get hundreds of people to like comment or like say they want something. And like I understand where that comes from. Like you might see me posting like, hey, I just made a video. You want me to send it? You have like 352 people. right? The same. I have a couple posts. This one got 274 people, right? I have another post where it got 500 people commenting. Yeah. But again, like that's not the reality. That took a long time in order to like build those kind of numbers. And you got to keep in mind, like I have on this YouTube channel, I have 500,000 people see my videos every single year. My Facebook group has 35,000 people. So if you try and make content the same kind of way that you see other people who have big audience doing it, it's not going to really work for you the way that you're hoping. So instead, you have to make content in a way that works for someone who doesn't have an audience or someone that's in more of a commoditized service. So what to expect on LinkedIn and Facebook? So where you post is going to change the results. So for example, on Facebook, when I do Facebook to post, you can post on your Facebook profile, but in a lot of cases, you have not built your profile or do like some of like there's other videos we have on this channel that teach you like how to build a profile. It talks about how to actually go and like get it. If you haven't watched the video that's about LinkedIn, like the A to Z LinkedIn, comment LinkedIn A to Z, and like I'll send you a copy of it. So if you're watching this on Facebook, do that. If you're watching on YouTube, do that as well. I'll send you a copy or a link to the video so you can watch that. Now, the reason why it's important to build these things up is because Facebook and YouTube and LinkedIn and Instagram, they only show your content to a percentage of people that are actually like watching your they're actually following you. So some people will say like, well, all I gotta do is put on hashtags and hundreds of thousands of people will see it. And that used to be true, but nowadays all hashtags are just certain like links on a social media platform where content is organized. So the only people that see stuff from hashtags are people that are going to that hashtag specifically to see that content. So it's not necessarily just going to show it to a million people. It's only going to show it to people that are like really looking for stuff in that. And that's not necessarily someone's gonna be a buyer. That's in a lot of cases gonna be a robot, or it's gonna be someone that's trying to make content that's similar. So it's like it's you have to build up your profiles first in order to have like a relevant number of people that can actually go and start, purchasing your service. So one way I like to do is I like to go into Facebook groups where my target market's inside of, and I take those same posts that would be on my profile. I take out the call to actions and then I actually go and post those inside of groups. And any person that like likes, comments, or shares, I add them to my profile by sending a friend request or a direct message. We'll talk more about like the friend request and the direct message that you can send a little bit later inside this video. But one thing to also note from Facebook is you will get a lot more like movement than other platforms. But in a lot of cases, it's not necessarily tied to commercial value or commercial intent. So, for example, Facebook, there's a lot of people that are like dabbling, or maybe they're interested in starting. Like, let's say you go into a construction group. There's a lot of people that are interested in doing a construction business, or they might be like an independent contractor, but not necessarily someone that's going to be able to afford to pay you $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 per month, right? Versus on like a platform like a LinkedIn where you can verify how much money someone's making, it's a little bit easier to start getting more relevant and more like financially qualified people to see your post and then interact with your profile. So if I'm going to go on Facebook, I'm going to go and see where there's a mass amount of people. And I'm trying to find patterns, trying to find like which Facebook groups have business owners that are the size that I'm looking for. And I'm trying to like go and post there very consistently. We'll talk about the different types of posts in a minute, but that's how I think about Facebook. Okay. So it's faster. You will get a lot more comments, a lot more engagements, but you're going to have to swim through a lot of people who are just not really looking to pay you money right now. They're just looking for information, or they're dabbling, or they're thinking about it. Okay. Next thing, LinkedIn. LinkedIn has less interaction, but the people who do interact generally will buy. So I have found that on LinkedIn, it's easier for a smaller person that's starting out to utilize than someone like on Facebook. And the reason why is because like LinkedIn is it's built more for someone that is like an old school type of like prospector or like salesperson. It's not built for someone that's like a high frequency type of digital marketer like myself, for example. So, for example, on Facebook and Instagram, I can run ads and I can get hundreds of people to reach out and like ask me questions, ask for guides, follow me, and I have to sift through a lot of those people. Versus on LinkedIn, it's very, very simple. You verify who the person is. You see if they have someone that's similar to you inside of like their payroll. If they don't, then you send them a message. From there, you start working the leads, as they call it in traditional sales, and you start building relationships, and then you can go and get clients. So if you're just getting started in your business, you have a much stronger chance of being able to make significant money using a platform like LinkedIn than other platforms, right? But it can be very, very scary because you're not necessarily going to see signs that it's working unless you know exactly what to expect, or you're working with someone like myself, right? Because I can tell you, okay, so this post is generally gonna do very well because of this, or you see her getting this kind of likes and this kind of comments and like this kind of engagement. This is gonna lead to this because of XYZ, right? So you do need more personalized support if you're gonna be doing it because it is a little bit scarier. Like, yeah, like the first time, like I paid someone to, like, show me how to use LinkedIn. Like I was like, this is not working. It doesn't make any sense why this is working the way it's working. And it's only until once it works, I was like, okay, you can calm down, just like relax, just keep repeating the process. So that's when I think about LinkedIn. So LinkedIn is very good. It's different than what you expect. It's slower than what you expect, but it just, rather than thinking of it as being slower, just you're just not running around with like you're a chicken with its head cut off. So you're just much more deliberate, you're much more centered, and you're much more focused on specific results rather than just like volume of activity. Next thing is like what not to do when it comes to posting content. So a lot of people when they try and post content, there's a couple of different like pet peeves of mine that I see, and I haven't done all of them, but I've tried some of those things that I'm going to talk about before, and I can just tell you why it doesn't work. You can still try them if you would like, right? It's just I'm just going to kind of predict the future for you to a certain degree. So number one, 10 reasons to do XYZ, 10 reasons to hire a bookkeeper or hire an accountant or hire a CPA. Okay, let's take a step back. Whenever we're making a piece of content, we have to know who is the person that we're actually going to be calling into our business. Now, a person that's going to pay you $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 a month, they should already know why they should hire an accountant or a bookkeeper. Like that just kind of comes to the territory. Like if they're going to pay you that much money, you're not the first one they've ever worked with. So they understand already that you need to do it. So the only people that are going to respond to posts like that are people that are just getting started because they do not know that, right? They don't know why they need to hire a bookkeeper. So your post is basically showing them that. Okay. Instead, you should make posts that are like 10 reasons why someone should work with you. Remember, part of content is about either connecting, warming, or educating. Now, if I'm going to be educating, in this particular case, I'm trying to educate. This one will not necessarily be an education post. This will be more of like a connection type of post, or a warmth type of post, right? If you're using a post to educate, you're generally going to have to talk about something that most people who are your target market would not know. Hey, that's the biggest reason why I don't like that post. It's just like you're just only going to be attracting small people. And you're going to get a false positive because remember, if you post this on like a Facebook or on a LinkedIn, if you specifically on a Facebook and you post inside of a Facebook group, you're going to get tons and tons of like likes and hearts and stuff. But it's going to be from a bunch of people that just don't have a business that's large enough to pay you. And you're going to get them a messenger or they'll book a call with you and like, oh, I thought it was $50 a month. Okay. Avoid it at all costs. Again, if you have to do a 10 reasons post, 10 reasons why someone should hire you. Next thing, National Panda Day, National Donut Day, National Pizza Day. Those national days, like you might see like bigger businesses using that. So for example, like that's really popular in the gym space where they have like a whiteboard when you're in the lobby. It's like, hey, it's National Pizza Day or National Chopsticks Day. And like that works because people are already paying the money. It's just something just fun and something like engage people. But the person that's not paid you, it doesn't have very much converting power, conversion power. So it's just, I mean, again, it's not about looking busy. It's about being effective. Okay. That and understand like you're trying to be effective. You should be doing content, so you're just doing stuff. I'm not saying that you're bad or you're doing just it's not about being busy. Let's just be effective. Next thing, people who use a content creation curator service. What that means is like you pay someone like 30 to like $500 a month and they like give you like a bunch of like pre-made content. Okay. Because generally there's no personalization, right? So there's no reason why someone would know to work with you, right? There's even if you just put your logo or your face, like that's better than like what a lot of these things will do. Like a lot of them will just put like a picture of like a skyrise, city skyrise, and then like a picture of like accounting or something, right? It's just like it doesn't really tell someone like why it should work with you or even who you are. Next, there's again not much personalization, not much branding. Next thing, no connection is formed. Next thing is like everyone's post essentially starts to look the same. Like, yeah, they might give you like a special like set of like brand coloring palette or something, and it might look slightly different. But if you just look at the words, like the words are pretty much the same. So again, you're leading to being more commoditized in your viewers' eyes, especially if they already have like 3 to 5 different bookkeepers that are using the same service that are already friends with them or they're connected with. And they're like, oh, this person it causes confusion. It just doesn't cause people to like want to move forward to you, right? There's no point in really having a piece of content that does not move someone forward towards you. Like neutral steps and negative steps, those are bad. Right? It has to be moving forward. If I'm going to take the time to do something or even like post it, I need to make sure someone's moving forward to me. Um, Again, not about looking busy. Right? Because remember, you're kind of dealing with a commoditized service. Commoditized service means that everyone thinks you're exactly the same as someone else until you can prove or show or educate them that you are different and why they should work with you. So in order to do that, types of content I like using. Number one is a story post. I'm going to explain each of these in a second, but I'm just going to like highlight it first. A story post, testimonial post, value post, C for V, comment for value, aka resource posts. Okay, we're going to go into some deeper. So, number one, story. Talking about your story, your past experiences, companies that you worked for. What are some lessons you've learned? Basically, this is just connecting someone to you to show that you actually are along the path that you are trying to help other people with. Now, if you're new to the industry, that's okay. You can still use parts of your story that talk about like what inspired you to get into the business or what inspired you into this field, or if you have transferable skills or transferable experience, you can talk about those as well. Okay. So again, that one's more about connection and warmth. I like those ones because of connection and warmth. If you do really, really good job, it really works very well. Next thing is testimonials. Okay, so testimonials are great for a couple different reasons. But the one, if you could do one kind of testimonial, you would do some sort of interview or podcast where you basically have the other person sitting there talking about what their experience was from you. Just having someone kind of like write a blurb on social media, it doesn't really stand out anymore. It doesn't stand out. Like so when I'm thinking of using a testimonial, my all of my testimonials are basically sales assets. Like they get people to convert, they get people warm, like people want my help, they want to work with me. It's not just like something that's like, oh, Bryce helped me do XYZ, blah blah. It's like, well, this is what I was going through before. This is like the story of how we help. This is the story of this. And it's just like it just moves people, right? I'm just trying to move people. I'm just trying to like move them forward towards me. That's all I'm doing. It's all new. I don't need to get them completely warmed. I don't need them to like pay me money without ever speaking to me on the phone, like automated. I just need them to just move towards me, right? Another way you can do a testimonial would be to do like either a white paper or a case study where you basically change the main details of the client so that you still can like retain some confidentiality and you just talk about what did you do for them step by step from start to finish. I like those a lot because a lot of times people can actually see, oh wow, you help this person go find like this undeposited check. That's $5,000 extra that you basically helped them go and find. So you made that person $5,000. I wonder what they can do for me, right? So you're telling the story of how you help somebody else, and then another reason why it's important for this kind of post, everyone assumes that they're the main character. Whenever someone watches a movie, everyone kind of thinks of themselves as like Thor, the guy with the hammer, like in the Avengers movie, the main character. When really most people are the guy standing on the sideline that got killed by the bad guy in the first 5 minutes of the movie. But no one thinks that they're that person. Everyone's the main character. So by doing the case study, they're basically getting a preview of what it's like to work with you. You're separating yourself from every other person because most other bookkeepers and accountants are not doing this. Some accountants are kind of doing this more and more now. There's like a lot more like marketing programs, but a lot of bookkeepers are not. A lot of bookkeepers are not, right? If you do tax planning or tax strategy, you could do this so easily. Every single client that you work with could be a case study or testimonial. You just change the name, change some of the figures, and you basically just describe like what are some of the different deductions you're able to get the person, why did you choose to use that one over something else, and just like you literally can just do that. Then you can just like you can put on a Google document like this, record it. You don't even have to put your face in the camera. You can literally just like make a PowerPoint presentation without your face, record it, and that could be a piece of content, or you can even like post it as like a post. It's amazing. If I offer that service, tax strategy and tax planning, which I might in the next like 2 to 3 years, if I offer that service, like that would be all. I would have a YouTube channel specifically for my case studies. That's all I would do. Okay. It actually slides into another one, which is like value. So if you notice, like all these posts kind of are similar, it's just slightly different. I'm not trying to give myself 1 million hours of work. I'm trying to find something that I can utilize and put 1 unit of energy in and get 5 units of energy back. So think about this. Okay. I'll give you a real life example. So I made this Google document. I made it kind of short today because I wanted to get strictly to the point, make sure like, attention span wise, you guys would feel good about like the length. But sometimes I make a longer post. I will then post that straight into Facebook on my profile or into my Facebook group. I then will get on YouTube and I make a video about it, right? And I basically will talk about the video and I post it on YouTube. I then go inside of a different group on a different day and say, hey, did anyone see this YouTube video? And then people are going to say, no, they didn't see this YouTube video. I send them a link to the video and then I can start a conversation and slash, or I can even make a fourth post where I'm basically going to say, hey, I made a Google document breaking down how to make content. Do you want a copy of that? That is 4 ways I just used the same piece of information that took me 20 minutes to make. And all of those methods are something that can get me a client, right? So it's effective, man. This whole thing's effective, right? I'm not that busy. People are like, well, how are you able to make so much content? Like how a guy on a coaching call asked me because I was telling him like, hey guys, let's not make a lot of content. Just go and do some of the stuff from LinkedIn stuff. Don't get distracted by content. He goes, well, Bryce, well, how much content do you make, or how much time do you spend making? He asked me, how much time do you spend making content? I was like, bro, I spend like 20 minutes to an hour a week making content. Like that's it. And this it's ridiculous, man. Like the number of calls we get booked from the content, as simple of a process as it is still astounding to me, right? So always been thinking about like how can you use the same thing multiple times, right? Because a case study could be a story of how you helped somebody out in the past. You're then breaking down like how you helped that client specifically and going in more detail about that. Then you can also add value to it and make it like, oh, you're teaching the person like, what is this deduction? Why is this deduction good? How to make this deduction work, right? Another way you can use a testimonial would be actually a horror story. So how do you differentiate yourself? So this could be about like how you help someone save money, or if someone maybe didn't do what you said and then something bad happened. This can actually wake people up and basically get them to know like, hey, I need to take action. I need to get help with this, right? If I don't, then XYZ thing could happen. Another thing that you can do is a C for V. That stands for comment for value, also called a resource post. So that post that keeps showing on the screen, the one's like, hey, I made this LinkedIn thing. That one actually works really well. Now, I personally wouldn't do a lot of it if you don't have a lot of resources. But what you could do is you could show someone how to basically make like a budgeting calculator, right? So, or you could even make a tool that people can use for like bidding projects if you're in like construction, right? Another one could be if you're like a nonprofit, you can talk about like, how much money you get from grants. There's a million different things you could do. So it could be a PDF that you make, it could be a cheat sheet you make, it could be a list of deductions that people can take, like common deductions. It could be a calculator if you talk about, it could be like a budgeting tool. It could be a quiz of like, well, how do you know if you need bookkeeping? How do you know if your bookkeeping is good? It's something where they have to comment or message you in order to get it to start the conversation towards working with you in exchange for that resource. Now, powerful, it's powerful. Now, depending on where you put it and how direct of a lead it's going to be, is going to determine how much work you have to do to get people on the phone. So, what I mean by directness, you can either have a thing where it's like, hey, if you want to work with me, comment this thing below. You're probably not going to get a lot of comments in the beginning. Like, I won't get any comments if I'm being honest. But if you do something where it's like, hey, I made this free tool that can help you do X, Y, Z. If you want for me to send it to you, comment this below. That's going to get you slightly more people, depending on like how big your audience is and where you're posting it. And the more times you do this, you just keep stacking and stacking. And then when you make actually good resources, people keep wanting more and more. Like when I talk about like my stuff was building, it's building and building, right? It's like it's because I make good videos, in my opinion. And some other people have told me that. I get good reviews for the YouTube channel. And yeah, when I first started doing it, I got like 2 people saying they wanted one of my guides or wanted to watch one of my YouTube videos. And then now when I do it, I get anywhere between like 50 to like I had one where I got like 867 off like one post. Like 867 people commented asking for this thing I was giving away. So it's like this stuff doesn't just happen. Like you build it over time. It's just all about consistency. All about consistency. Now, what to do when someone likes, comments, or shares your post? Okay, now this is the moment we've all been building for. This is a huge, huge, huge thing. This is where most people drop the ball. You've done all this work. You've made this content, okay? Send them a message. Send them a message, a direct message, okay? The reason why I do this is because some people who read your posts will like you and want to work with you, and they feel converted and compelled to work with you. And they don't know that they can just reach out to you. You have to be the leader and lead the dance, right? So as soon as you do that, a lot of cases, like they will be like, oh, well, hey, well, how can you help me? In that case, you book them in for a call. If you don't have a message script, I do have a video on this YouTube channel that talks about how to do direct messaging. If you want that, go ahead and comment DM, like the letter D and M for direct message. And I'll send it to you, when I get the chance. Now, preferably, from there, like you go for like a 15-minute call just to kind of verify the content was very effective in the beginning. As you get more and more calls like booked and on the calendar, you can just go straight for like a sales call. I prefer to do a 15-minute call off written content just so I can make sure that like did the content actually work? Is the person I want to work with? And if you're like doing like accounting or bookkeeping services, in between the 15-minute call and the 45-minute call is when you can actually get access to their books to go and like look over their scope of work to price it out for the like sales call. So next thing, at this stage where most people are at, like if you're watching, I'm assuming you don't have 10,000 people following you. If you have 10,000 people following you and you haven't gotten a client from those 10,000 people, I would probably recommend you join our mentorship program so we can just like go through there and like get some people. I'll talk about that in a second. But at this stage, most people don't have the skill set or the leverage to get people to consistently book on their calendar with content alone. What I mean by that is sometimes like, you might see me make a post where it's like, hey, if you want help, book a call, like click this link to book a call with me. That's because I have 15,000 people on my email list. I have 35,000. Like I have enough people seeing it and the content's good enough to where people book a call consistently. But if you're just starting out, please do not rely on your content alone to try and automatically book a call for you. Use messaging, like just message. It's very simple. I know it's time consuming. But it's worth it. Okay. Sometimes in life, like there are things that are like work and they're time consuming and they're not worth it. And I just wouldn't do it. But if it is worth it, like I would definitely do it. Like that's why I still message people every day. I message a lot of people. I think I responded to like 100 people today so far. Right. And that only took me like probably like 30 minutes, but it's worth it. Like man, making money in this game online is so easy now, like compared to like what it was like back in like 2006, 2005, 2000. Like people, you can even make money on the internet. Like you guys have such a gift of being able to do it, so like utilize that gift as much as possible. Now if you don't have the skill set to do so, get help, like figure out like how to do it. Okay, but remember, just because you're not at the point to where your content's booking, like consistently booking calls on its own, like doesn't mean you can't improve. Doesn't mean you can't like book calls. Just it's not gonna be as automated as a lot of people would like kind of like. A lot of people like, you just post the content and just hope people like kind of show up. And it's like it's don't try and automate the process too early. Okay. So for example, I had a student in my mentorship program. He just joined last week. So he had started building up his profile, and he has 5,000 followers, but he hasn't been able to get like a client from the LinkedIn profile yet. So when we just started working. Like, I think this Saturday's gonna be like our next session, our second session. We're gonna go through the entire profile, every content piece ever made, every follower he has. We're gonna go and try and get a couple of them on the phone, right? With 5,000 followers, he should have at least 5 to like 10 people that should want to work with them. So I'm really excited to kind of get some quick wins with that. But you need the personalized interaction. He's been posting every single day for like at least like the last 3 months. And he's getting likes and comments, but he hasn't like started interacting. So now he's got to add the personalized interaction. We can even automate that to a certain degree. Once you have that, everything moves smoother. Okay. So I'm really excited to do that. But again, he got help. Some people like, they don't get help. It's just one of those things. It's like Rome was not built in a day, and generally most people need to have, someone who can show them how to go and move. So if you want help growing your business so you can like live a life of freedom without having to go through like a lot of different struggles that maybe what myself or other people have gone through to get to the point to where we're at, click the link inside the description either above below the video, book a call with me to see if I can help you. Right. Some people, and like sometimes what happens, like people like they wait to book a call. They end up like running out of steam and just kind of like living in the same spot for years. Like, and I know that sounds so like that's not true, Bryce, but I mean, I've been doing the mentorship program since 2019. The amount of people I've seen where it's like every January, it's like, a new group of people where it's like, they want to move forward, they're excited for the business, but they just don't do the steps that are necessary or needed in order to find success. And unfortunately, I just see them like talk about like, oh yeah, I quit that. I didn't go anywhere. Yeah, it was a lot harder than what I expected to be. And I just ended up like sitting in the same spot and they're still in the same job, or they quit their job and got a new job. It's just like it's so simple. Just reach out, get help. If you really want to do this, like if you just want kind of a break or something, from your job, like yeah, you can do it. But if you want this to be the thing that supports your family, to be able to actually like have those vacations, be able to have like the time off, to be able to travel, like, if you actually want that, like just I recommend you just join the program, see if it's a good fit for you. Some cases it might not be a good fit for you, but at least it can point you in the right direction, if it makes sense. Also, if money's tight, like I never wanted money to be like the main thing that stops someone from being able to get like the help they wanted. So we have different like payment partners that can help get you funded. So you can actually get your foot in the door and start the program and then get off to the races. So if that's you, I'd love to see you on the call. If you're not quite ready, I would encourage you to maybe, change your mind. But if you still just don't want to move forward right now, that's okay too. Keep watching more of our content. We have a lot of videos. Maybe we can help you along the way. Okay. Talk to you soon. Have a good rest of your day.